lots of cash. First in the polls, California's Senate race is Adam Schiff to lose. The congressman, known for his critiques of Trump, has outraised and outspent his opponents in a closely matched race. Adam Schiff looked like a frontrunner when he first announced he was running for the Senate more than a year ago, and he hasn't stopped looking like one since. The California congressman from Los Angeles, best known for his withering critiques of Donald Trump and the threat the former president poses to U.S. democracy, hasn't always been able to match the charisma of his two leading Democratic rivals, Katie Porter and Barbara Lee. His continuing support for Israel's military offensive in Gaza, broadly in line with the Biden administration's, has created divisions among his constituents and opened up one of the few significant policy differences in the race. But as the clock ticks down to the 5 March primary, that has yet to make an appreciable difference in the race to fill Dianne Feinstein's seat. Schiff has outraised his opponents by significant margins, allowing him to bombard the airwaves with campaign ads. He has raked in the lion's share of endorsements from fellow party members, labor unions, newspapers, and others. Opinion polls long had him leading narrowly, but now suggest he may be breaking away from the rest of the pack. The most recent surveys show Schiff at least 5 points ahead of his competitors. Porter and Republican Steve Garvey are neck and neck for second place, though it's highly unlikely the former baseball star would prevail in the general election in November given Democrats' dominance in the state. Lee lags behind. In an election year when many voters say they fear for the future of the republic, a contest in a reliably blue state featuring 3 generally well-regarded Democratic members of Congress plus 1 near-unelectable Republican neophyte can seem a bit of a luxury. But the pressure cooker dynamics of national politics have arguably played into Schiff's hands. As the leading voice on the first of Trump's 2 impeachments and as a congressional investigator into the January 6 insurrection at the Capitol, Schiff has won widespread admiration and near-heroic status within his own party. As the Los Angeles Times wrote in endorsing Schiff over what it called his smart, experienced, savvy Democratic opponents, given the increasingly authoritarian statements from Donald Trump, the possibility he could return to the White House, and the Republican Party's lockstep loyalty to him, the Senate needs Schiff. Schiff himself has played up his anti-Trump credentials, calling the ex-president the gravest threat to our democracy. In a recent debate in response to a question about what made him different from his fellow Democrats, and he has only been helped by the obvious loathing he inspires, as Trump and his Republican partisans routinely call him shifty, a lowlife, and, without evidence, a stone-cold liar. When the Republican-led House of Representatives voted to censure Schiff last June on the partisan-driven grounds that he had threatened national security and was undermining our duly elected president, it proved to be a fundraising boon for Schiff's Senate campaign that cemented the significant financial advantage he was already enjoying over his rivals. Rick Wilson, a former Republican political operative now working for the anti-Trump Lincoln Project, said Schiff had a singular ability to drive Trump Republicans to distraction because of his skill, much of it learned from his pre-congressional experience as a prosecutor, to marshal facts, zero in on what matters, and lay out the stakes in clear, persuasive language. Adam Schiff is one of the people who understood where the bodies were buried, Wilson said. He presented a combination of intelligence and wit that gave the Trump people a tremendous amount of heartache. I don't mean this to be facetious, but they hate smart people. I say, tell me who you hate and I'll show you who you fear. Still, the race is about more than Trump. And Schiff has talked a lot about other issues close to the heart of California voters, including homelessness, affordable housing, healthcare costs, and the environment. Since the election has played out largely as a contest among Democrats, with Garvey providing a sideshow more than a serious threat, it also presents voters with questions about the direction they want to set for the party, both in the Golden State and across the country. Feinstein, who died in office last September, was an old-school centrist, and whoever replaces her will hew significantly to her left. Still, in an age of deep partisan polarization, do voters want a pragmatist, as Schiff styles himself, or a firebrand? Someone who falls somewhere in the political middle of his party, like Schiff, or the most progressive voice possible?